It's no secret that doctors across the country are unhappy.
Hey Rishi, you're so tight, you make us strike. Hey Rishi! Run! Hey! When do you win? Now!
And this is because what it means to be a doctor in the UK has changed significantly. While medicine itself remains a fascinating subject, I really wish I had some more exposure to some of the realities of working as a doctor in the UK medical workforce. We're hearing of more and more doctors leaving the NHS and even of some students dropping out of medical school. I know a lot of people who watch my channel are either in medical school or applying for medical school, so if you're wondering if studying medicine is still worth it, here are some brutally honest questions that you need to ask yourself. Number 1. Are you doing medicine for the money? Now, I ask this question in case anyone is still under the misconception that becoming a doctor is going to make you rich. If you intend to work and stay in the UK, then becoming a doctor is not automatically going to make you a wealthy person. And it's really important that this is really clear to anyone thinking of applying, particularly because when you are making this decision, you're so young, usually in your late teenage years, where you don't have much experience or exposure to managing money. Sadly, doctors' pay in the UK has not kept up with inflation and currently does not represent the amount of effort, time, studying, sacrifice, and responsibility that comes with the role of being a doctor, particularly if you compare it to other parts of the Western world. We are also unique in the fact that we have to pay to continue doing our job. For example, registration fees, exam fees, and medical indemnity fees, which all add up and all become quite expensive. So if the main reason for considering medicine is because you want a job that pays well, then you would probably meet that goal a lot more easily and a lot quicker in another career. The second question you need to ask yourself is, do you want to be a lifelong learner? Lifelong learning is a phrase that gets thrown around a lot during medical school applications, and most people will just say, yes, of course I want to be a lifelong learner, without actually thinking deeply into exactly what that means. What you need to ask yourself is, after a 5-year-long degree with yearly exams, do you want to be sitting further exams which are required in order for you to progress up the doctor ladder up until later adulthood, at which point you may have children, at which point you most likely will be working full time? You need to have in mind that completing medical school isn't the end, it's actually only the beginning. And in order to progress further in medicine, you will need to sit further exams. On a similar topic, the third question you need to ask yourself is, would you mind sitting those exams multiple times over multiple years, applying for jobs multiple times over multiple years, whilst also doing research and extracurricular things in your own time to make yourself a competitive applicant for applying to specialty programs? In recent years, the competitiveness to get into specialty training is increasing. And maybe the answer to that is yes. Maybe you're someone who loves doing research, loves doing medicine-related things in your own time, but it's really important to know that in current times, it's not necessary that your progress through medicine will be linear, and you may find it hard to progress in a linear way because of the training bottlenecks that exist. There are currently way more doctors applying for specialty jobs than there are specialty jobs available. The fourth question you really need to consider is, would you mind moving around the country for work? At the moment, the way doctors are allocated jobs in the UK means there's a real lack of control over your location. Jobs are allocated based on an algorithm which takes into account a few factors such as exam results, and while you can give a preference, a lot of the time doctors will have to move because they haven't found work in the region of the UK that they applied to work in. Recently, for foundation doctors, so doctors who are just fresh out of medical school in their first and second year, job allocations have been made completely random, and a lot of doctors have been forced to move really far away from friends and family in order to start work. Depending on what specialty you want to go into, this can happen multiple times throughout your training. So this means doctors are often not able to set down their roots, buy a house, have children because of this constant change in location. So really consider the impact that this may have on you if you go into medicine. The next question is, would you mind not having a fixed routine every day? When you've qualified as a doctor but you're still training to become a consultant doctor. Until you get there, you're most likely going to be on a rota system, which means sometimes you're going to have 8-hour shifts, sometimes you'll have 10-hour shifts, sometimes you'll have 12-hour shifts, sometimes you'll have nights, and the days that you work every single week are going to be different. This means that life can get really difficult to plan in advance, and it's also difficult to make commitments that would require you to be there on a weekly basis. For example, if you want to sign up to a gym class at 8 p.m. on Tuesday, that's probably not going to be possible, because just because you're off on that one Tuesday at 8 p.m. doesn't mean you will be next week or the week after. As such, it's really difficult to establish a fixed routine. So really consider the impact that that may have on you, on your body, on your family, on your relationships, because it's really something that's not spoken about when you're applying for medical school. Lastly, another question you need to ask yourself is around how much you value job security. Similar to the point around the training bottlenecks and how doctors are now finding it quite difficult to progress into specialty training roles. This is made more difficult by the government's decision to employ more physician associates, more advanced care practitioners, nurse practitioners, which are roles that are incredibly important in supporting doctors, but we're seeing more and more are starting to reduce the number of doctor jobs available. Now, job security is traditionally one of the biggest reasons that someone may have gone into medicine, because you can never have enough doctors, right? We constantly have a shortage of doctors. But unfortunately, some of the things we've spoken about are some of the reasons why doctors more and more are finding that the guarantee of job security is decreasing in today's landscape. Now, this is not a video trying to put you off applying to medicine or studying medicine, but more so just to allow you to understand exactly what you're going into and allow you to make the right informed decision for yourself. Because I know how young you are when you're making this choice. For students who want to study medicine, the decision starts as early back as your GCSEs when you're deciding which subjects to choose. Looking after patients and treating illnesses is really rewarding. And if you know that that's what you want to do, even after knowing all this, then you should apply to medicine. However, if you're considering medicine because you're a high achiever and you don't really know what else you should go into, but you're not particularly passionate about medicine, you may find yourself in the later stages a bit disheartened by all the negatives that exist. To answer the question whether studying medicine is still worth it, that's going to be entirely dependent on your particular circumstances and your reasons for wanting to study medicine. But what I can say for sure is that the incentive to study medicine is decreasing. If you're still conflicted about your choices, you can write a comment and I will help you out as much as I can. But also I would encourage you to talk to people you know in medicine, and particularly try to talk to doctors who are younger, who are facing the recent changes of the medicine landscape in the UK, because older doctors who qualified 20 years ago, consultants, they will not be able to guide you most accurately on the circumstances of studying medicine today. Please don't forget to subscribe if you found this video helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.